Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the regular Town Board meeting. Today's Monday, February 23rd, and please join me as we pledge allegiance to the flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, so can I please have a motion to accept the minutes from our last meeting?
Motion to accept.
And a second?
Second.
And all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, so moving on, we have two public hearings scheduled for tonight. The first one at 7:05, which is presently, is the proposed local law for the formation of the Crossroads Core zoning district. We've been working on this for quite some time, probably well over a year. I've had numerous iterations that we have made some minor revisions to, and now we have a law that we're very happy with. There's a copy of it back there on the table. There was just one minor revision, and I'll let the town attorney just speak to that.
The only difference between the local law tonight and at the last public hearing in which Bonnie Franzen went over it in, I believe, some detail, is we've added a definition of parking lot to the local law to make to respond to some comments and make it consistent with other provisions of our town code. Otherwise, it's the identical law. If we close the public hearing tonight, the board can't vote on it because it's not in final form, 7 days.
It is now in final form, but we just
now it would be,
received
so they would, you would vote on it
at our
the
next
meeting.
which will be March 9th. Okay, so would anyone like to come on up and speak to the Crossroads Core Zoning District Amendment? Hi, Herb.
Hello. I've written down some of my extemporaneous comments, if I can say
Okay.
it. Back in the 90s, the Master Plan Committee mapped out this area as the Market Street core. We did this not only in recognition of the history of the area, because this is what people still have in mind when thinking of Hyde Park. This area is Hyde Park. There still are signs in Poughkeepsie and at the Conic State Parkway stating the distance to Hyde Park that, when measured out, are actually to the Crossroads intersection. The downside to not preserving the historic core of the town is that the town would lose its identity. To the extent that Hyde Park and other towns do that, it would be completely reasonable to tear down the town signs, and then we could all just become residents of this or that zip code. Sounds unappetizing to me. Thank you.
Thank you, Herb. Okay, would anyone else like to come on up and comment on their Crossroads Core zoning amendment?
John Schleppi, One River Road. I am so happy that we've gotten to this point. I really like the idea of a town core, a town center, and I think this is something that we've sorely missed in the past. And when you think of our neighboring towns, let's say Rhinebeck, Rhinebeck does have a town center, and it's a place where people can walk to and through very easily. And it creates a nice atmosphere and a very good climate. And I like the stress that we have on tourism and on community gathering places. And I really strongly support this, and I think it will do pretty much as Herb said, make sure that we have a town identity. And so I strongly support it. It's a long time in coming, and I really thank you for the good work that you guys have done in developing it.
Thank you very much.
John.
Appreciate that. Would anyone else like to come on up and speak to the Crossroads Core zoning amendment? Okay, if not, then may I have a motion to close the public hearing?
So moved.
And a second?
Second.
And all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Again, we'll be voting on March 9th. Okay, well, the second item on the agenda is a proposed local law to extend the time period for non-conforming signs. So I'll just offer a little bit of history on this so everyone understands what this law is about. In 2005, zoning was passed that changed the requirements for signs. And at that time, under Supervisor MacArthur, it was decided that the town people, the people who had signs, would have 10 years to comply with the new code. And so what we have decided as a town board, that instead of requiring people to change their signs to comply with the code, that they, in 10 years, we are proposing that we would revise that time limit to 12 years, so basically extending it 2 more years. But I think it's important to make a distinction between non-conforming signs and those signs that are illegal. So non-conforming signs were compliant with the code when they were constructed. They had permits and they adhered to what the code specified. But illegal signs are ones that never received permits, never complied with the code. So what this law has no bearing whatsoever on illegal signs. There's always been a methodology for the zoning administrator to pursue those illegal signs to require conformance. But what this does is just focuses on those signs that predated the zoning adoption in 2005 and extends the time period by 2 years. So, basically our thought process in doing that was that, we're still suffering sadly under a lagging economy, and it seemed appropriate for us as the town board to really consider some of the stresses that the existing businesses are under. So, we really, kind of kicked it around. Which way should we go? Should it be a number of years? Should we stick to the original plan? And really just kind of decided that 2 years' time would be sufficient for, hopefully, for our economy to rebound and make it more, make it easier for those existing businesses to obtain signs that conform with the code. And in addition, it would give our zoning administrator 2 years to kind of follow up on the illegal signs that are out there. And again, those are signs that never conformed, nor did they ever receive permits. So that's where we are. There's a copy of the proposed law back on the table, and at this time I'd like to actually have the town clerk read the public hearing notice.
Could I just add one thing to that before you go on? I just wanted to note that for signs that are non-conforming, there are some different paths people can take to get them into conformance. In some cases, that does mean getting a new sign, but in other cases, there may be other paths that people can take through variances or special use permits. So I think the 2-year period will give people time to decide whether they want to purchase a new sign or try to pursue one of those other methods to bring their sign into conformance. So
That's a very good point. So again, as Emily said, there are other paths to compliance, and thank you for bringing that up. Okay, so Madam Clerk, might you please read the public hearing notice?
Please take notice that the Town Board of the Town of Hyde Park shall conduct a public hearing on the proposed adoption of local law amending Section 108-24.7 of the Town of Hyde Park Code on February 23, 2015 at 7:10 p.m. at the Town of Hyde Park Town Hall located at 4383 Albany Post Road, Hyde Park, New York. The purpose of the local law is to amend Section 108-24.7 of the Town of Hyde Park Code to extend the amortization period for pre-existing signs that are not compliant with the Town of Hyde Park Code from 10 years to 12 years. Any person desiring to comment on said local law shall be given an opportunity to do so at the public hearing. A copy of the proposed local law is on file at the town clerk's office during normal business hours and is posted on the town's official website. By order of the Town Board of the Town of Hyde Park, dated February 12, 2015, Hyde Park, New York, Donna McGrogan, Town Clerk.
Thank Thank you very much. Okay, so at this time, I'd like to invite the public up to speak to the new law. Please state your name and your address and confine your comments to 3 minutes.
Herbert Sweet, 6 Covey Road. I understand that the intention in this local law change are to show the town is business-friendly. But business-friendly is more complex than it seems to be on the surface of things. On the one hand, without laissez-faire, innovation is stifled. But without knowable structure and order, business cannot even exist. In regards to signs, we need to take special care. When structure is insufficient, each business tries to outdo its neighbor, and we end up with what has been dubbed sign wars. We all tune it out, and nobody benefits. Over 10 years ago, the town developed the sign structure that was needed to support a thriving business community. While many businesses have come into compliance, others apparently have not used the 10 years to provided to create a plan to meet those standards, and so now they want more time. There certainly are understandable individual circumstances, and mechanisms can be established to deal with them. If more time is needed, taking a cue from the planning board time extensions, it would seem to me to be more reasonable to be granting 90 or perhaps 180 days on an individual basis, but not a blanket 2 years. The shorter time frames, especially if they are conditioned by specific action plans, are more likely to be productive than a longer time frame, which would defer action perhaps to the point of never. Thank you.
Thank you, Herb. Would anyone else like to comment on the proposed sign code alteration? Okay, doesn't seem so. So with that, might I have a motion to go ahead and close the public hearing?
Motion?
And a second? And all in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Okay, well, moving on, it's now, we will be going to the workshop session of our meeting, and I'd like to invite the highway super up. If you'd like to come and sit at the table here, Walt. Somehow it's a Monday that didn't snow.
So we're shocked to go to school tonight.
Yeah, everybody was getting used to, everybody but you guys were getting used to 3-day weekends. So thank you, Walt, for making the time to come in. And, you know, basically, we're just looking for an update. I mean, everyone who's lives here or visits here knows it's been a very difficult winter. And so, you know, we've had some discussions back and forth on our salt supply and our overtime costs, and just hoping you can kind of give an update to us.
I sent the sheet over. I don't know if you all have it with you.
I don't have it with me. I couldn't,
Okay.
I didn't have time to, limited mobility, so I didn't get to copy it.
Okay.
But I did get to read it.
Okay, our minimum filed requirement for this year is 4,000 tons, which we increased from 3,000. The price per ton, $81.77 a ton. Basically, we're right about at, you know, where I want to be with, you know, we've used the money in the budget after all the orders are filled, and that is what seems to be the problem this year with the OGS and the state bid, because we've had issues, not just the town of Hyde Park, but with other towns who the contractor, the trucking contractor, isn't fulfilling their end of the state bid guidelines. When we call and order salt, they're supposed to have those orders filled within 3 to 5 days. And there's been a couple times where we've been 3 weeks without having our order filled, and, you know, of course, it's, as soon as they get it there, it's snowing, you know, and then I've had to borrow salt from the county on 3 separate occasions, which really saved us from running out. October 27th, I placed an order for 350 ton, and December 9th, I placed an order for 500 ton. So before we even got to the first of the year, we had used 850 ton of the 4,000 minimum requirement, because it seems like we never have a stockpile left at the end of the year. Always an issue, always has been. My 18 years of highway superintendent, we never have enough to start the year with, and we always run short at the end of the year. Because if we're lucky to get through March and the first part of April, then you still have November and December of the following year. And as of right now, we have purchased 4,750 ton. We are owed 640 ton from our vendor, and then we're owed another 150 ton from Dutchess County. So we still have to receive about 750 ton. We got a little bit of the 300 ton order from Dutchess County on Friday.
So how filled is the salt shed then? Are we pretty much?
About a quarter of a building, not very. But hopefully they can complete these orders this week. I mean, according to the forecast that I've seen, there's nothing really expected until Sunday again.
Have you heard when more might be coming in?
I have not. The Port of Albany is completely out of salt, and they're shipping it up from New Jersey. And like I said, we got four loads, which is like a little over 120 ton on Friday.
So I noticed that you were using some sand over the weekend. No?
Mm-mm.
Oh, no.
No.
It looked like there was some sand on the roads. Okay.
Mm-mm.
So would you consider that as an option? Just
No.
No, not.
No, and the only reason, years ago, when Pompey was supervisor, I think it was his first time, I don't remember what the year it was, but everybody, the salt doesn't work. Salt only works to 12 degrees. The treated salt works to like 20 below. Now, the last couple weekends, I don't know if you've noticed or not, but we've had the snow, and then we salted. And we didn't have to come in on Monday because it didn't refreeze, whereas the other municipalities who have used just the salt had to come in, and, you know, there was a lot of roads that were snow-packed. You know, so what started this whole thing years ago, getting away from the sand and salt, is the increased amount of sand, the increased amount of salt, having to sweep the streets, people driving on snow-packed roads, and, I mean, you can't compare, you know, the way the roads are now to the way they used to be. I mean, I understand the consideration is the money.
Well, it is. I mean,
Yeah.
essentially, we've spent 280,000 already on snow this year, right?
Yeah, well, I mean, there's another issue too, I think. We knew we had to spend, we knew we had 4,000 ton we had to order. That wasn't reflected in the budget. Only 280,000 was, you know? And on top of that, in the month of January, we've invoiced the Hyde Park Central School District for $17,000. Now, I've tried to find out where that money goes when we get it as revenue, and I can't seem to get an answer. I don't know why it doesn't go back into the salt fund.
Well, it's in the revenue section. We should go over that with TC and make sure it's getting accounted for properly, but it looks to me like it's in the.
I'm not saying it's not accounted for properly, but we should get reports from him saying, you know, the money's coming in, it's going back into the salt fund. You know, same thing with Statsburg Fire and Water, same thing for all the work we do for town hall, recreation, and all the other agencies in town, where we come in and do the work, and then we bill for it. We don't know where the money goes. I mean, like I told you when I met with you, our budget charts, my budget charts aren't worth anything over there because we're never told. You know, codes are changing, we don't know what money's going where, you know, we have no idea.
Yeah, we should look at that with TC for sure.
You know,
Yeah.
so I mean, that was just $17,000 last month. Now, I know for a fact, because I went through the school district's purchase order, that they're over budget on what their purchase order is, you know? We're over budget on everything. When the budget was made out for the seasonal, they cut it by $2,000 for the wingmen. They gave them a raise. Now we're $4,000 over budget.
Well, that's why we do have the snow reserve.
Well,
Which
no, well, I
Which
understand
is
that,
what-
but,
and we will be making those budget transfers next month. So TC did send an email that that's the strategy, and that's why we reserved it, and that's what we're going to be doing. But essentially, I agree, we should absolutely have a way for you to see those numbers reflected on the monies that we collect from the other entities that we're plowing for. And I was kind of wanted to also bring up, how is it going for plowing the highway? I mean,
Dutchess County.
Dutchess County, yeah.
Well, it's, I mean, it's not terrible, but the paperwork,
Is-
you know, I mean, I know that, I think up until mid-January, the revenue we should be getting from them, I think, is approximately $8,000. Now, we haven't,
I'm sorry, could you, it's 8,000 through January?
well, through the
Or-
middle of January,
Or-
we haven't, Dawn hasn't had a chance to do any of the paperwork and bill anything out with the, since we got really busy at the end of January. There's
Right.
just been too much,
But that's the projected revenue that you will be receiving from them?
well, the town will be receiving.
Yeah, mhm.
Yeah,
Okay.
as of that point. I mean, my guess is it'll probably be somewhere between 15 and 20, if it, you know, we keep
Total.
going through March the way we've gone since the end of January.
And in your opinion, is that worthwhile, or,
It's a lot of extra work for Dawn.
and,
I mean, I honestly don't know.
okay.
You know, the work isn't the hard part, but, you know, it's all the paperwork and everything that goes along with it.
Do we get to charge that back also? Do we charge?
Dawn's time?
Dawn's time,
No.
yeah. We should,
You can't.
really.
Yep. We charge for the rental of the equipment.
Yeah.
The operators, the wingmen, you know, the salt, you know, the trucks and the plows and all that, but Dawn's time isn't.
Maybe when we renegotiate that for next year, we should look, I mean, if that's taking her a lot of time.
Yeah.
maybe
I
we
mean,
should
I think
figure
that's
it out
kind of
with it.
countywide. I don't think anybody who does can bill for that service.
You can
But how does the salt work out? Are they supplying
they-
us salt or?
Yeah,
with
they
salt?
place the order through our trucking company, and, I mean, it's just been a struggle with the trucking
Yeah.
company this year, for everybody, not just us, but.
Yeah,
Well, no, you go ahead. You're the liaison here.
Yeah, well, Walt and I met and went over a lot of this last week, and so I'm sorry to make you repeat it, but I think it's good for, you know, for the public to know what the status is too, because, you know, we have used the whole budget for this year, and obviously we'll have to use the reserve, and that's fine, and that's, you know, what we'll need to do. But I think that, to me, what's really exciting is that we're getting these new controllers for the trucks that will help us to reduce our usage in the future. And, I mean, I know that we all just have to wait and see how that works out, but through the grant with the shared service with Poughkeepsie, we're getting these controls that go on the truck, and they, as the truck slows down, less salt is spread, and as the truck, you know, speeds up, more is spread, so that you're not over-spreading when the truck is going slowly. And we're hoping that that'll be a significant savings. And when I spoke with Walt, I think you're planning on starting at the end of March after the snow season and taking one truck at a time to get those installed, so we should have that done by June. And
That's the
that'll-
plan.
yeah, so that's great.
Can I just ask a question on that? So we have 10 plows at this time, is that right?
10 trucks.
10 trucks, right? And so you have 10 routes, right? And then, but we have had this new truck on order since August, right? And so when we receive that, will you be taking one of the trucks off the road or no?
No, we'll finally have a spare truck.
Okay, so I know there's a little bit of money left in this grant. There's like around $4,000 excess. So really, and we only ordered 10, so it seems like we should be able to try to capture that 11th, right? The additional 4,000 for an additional,
The new truck was ordered with one.
it was ordered with one, okay. And so do we pay separate for that, or, because I wonder.
Well, it was all part of the bid.
Yeah, I'm just wondering if we might be able to
Yeah, maybe we could
amend
charge it
the
back to the
grant
grant,
so
yeah.
that we can actually pay for the 11th one on with the grant money. I mean, it would save us another,
Pay ourselves back.
I mean, I don't know. I mean, I could
but that,
ask Todd out there, but I mean, I don't have,
well, I mean, I can actually do that. I mean, we're talking with them right now anyway about extending the grant because we're not going to have them installed till June. So it was due to end in the end of March. So, but I just kind of wanted to confirm how many trucks we have and if there's really, if we can purchase an 11th salt spreader with the grant money and take the 4,000 off the truck, that still would be beneficial to the town. So I'll kind of follow up on that, if that makes sense. But, just back to the dollar amount, I understand your concern that there was not enough initially in the budget that you requested, but part of that is just, the sheer volume of salt that we use, and so we're looking forward to these ways to try to control it, just because it's the town's probably single most expensive material. So, in a lot of other towns, as you say, use the sand, and we've decided not to do that because our roads are, you feel that this is an improvement in the way the condition of our roads, but it's just is it's a question that the town people, the town board has to answer. Is this, the philosophy that we all engage in and follow, that we should spend the most on our, on the salt so that we can have the best condition of the roads. So it's just this balance that the town board has to do. And so I appreciate your input, and I know that we're working on trying to control it, and I know you do too. So I don't know if anyone else has any other questions, and, yeah?
Yeah, I just have a few comments. Thanks, Walt, for coming.
okay, Dave.
When I went to throw my recyclables away Saturday, I noticed in the shed, there's a pile of sand and a pile of salt there. So I was like, oh, is he going to mix them or what? I didn't know what it was.
That's for oil spills.
Okay.
When somebody calls us because there's oil on the road, then we have to go out and sand it.
It was a fresh dump, so I thought maybe
Yeah.
we were so short we had to use it, but
No, no.
that's not the case, okay. And I do appreciate the job you've been doing all winter. The roads are bare, no doubt about it. I had a personal, family tragedy 22 years ago in Hyde Park where a niece got killed by a plow on White Oaks Road, so due to that. So I am cognizant of the fact that bare roads are a priority for you. And I do understand why, you like that magic salt, even though it's so damn expensive. It really does the job. I've
Best
noticed
product
it
out
online,
there.
and I've noticed that, I just wonder how much manpower less we use because of that. And as you said, one day we didn't go out, that we probably would have had.
Well, and you use less material than the sand and salt. Most of the trucks are only doing between a load and a quarter and a load and a half, where when we were using the sand and salt years ago, they were using over 2. We don't have to go out early in the morning, for refreezing, as long as it's still on the road. I mean, a lot of times if it warms up and it rains, it'll wash the salt off the road, but a lot of times we don't have to go out early. And it was the same reasons you're talking about now, that they wanted to get away from the sand and salt because of the prices back then.
Thanks.
Yeah, it seems like it's all a balance between the amount of time and the amount of material, and a lot of it is unpredictable based on just the temperature and the timing, and so it's a hard thing to say one
So-
is the best.
it's hard to budget for a winter. I mean, I've been at this
Yeah.
a long time, and every fall, when it's budget time, do you think it's gonna be an easy
Right.
winter?
Yeah.
And every March when I come here, they say, do you think we got enough to make it?
Right,
Every year.
yeah,
Well,
yeah.
That's good to know that perspective. All right, well, I don't have any more questions, so we'll be in touch, Walt. I'll
Okay.
follow up with TC on those questions you had and see exactly what budget line that revenue goes into.
Okay.
Okay, keeping our fingers
For
crossed.
coming out.
Yeah, thanks,
Thanks.
Walt.
No, it's a long day for you.
We have a certificate to recognize our Recreation Commissioner, Cheryl Wilson. But apparently Cheryl was supposed to come, but wasn't able to, so maybe we'll just do this next time.
Yeah, sounds good.
And finally, we have the GREENTREE Corner update, and kind of thought Emily could handle this, and Warren can pitch in where needed.
Sounds like a plan. So I think we've talked about this in the past, but I'll just give the board a brief update. So the corner of GreenTree Drive and Route 9G, where there's an abandoned gas station, the soil has been remediated by New York State several years ago, but there's a lien on the property, a large lien, which makes the property not marketable. So the solution that we've been pursuing is trying to have the town acquire that property so we can remove the building and create a green space at the corner of GreenTree Drive. So over the past year or so, Warren and Aileen and I have worked with a number of partners, and the state spill fund has agreed to greatly reduce that lien. Warren's working out the details with them, but it looks like they'll accept a nominal amount for the lien that's still on the property. The county has agreed to forgive the back taxes due, which is a great help. And so the remaining costs would mainly be demolition of the building, some minor grading and landscaping, and then just the transaction costs of making this happen. So the next step that we're looking at is to do a hazardous materials evaluation on the inside of the building to determine what the cost would be to demolish it, which really would vary depending on what's inside that building. So Pete Sotero has gotten a few estimates on the cost of doing that, and we'll hopefully be moving forward on that soon, just so that we can really know what we're getting ourselves into before we decide to do this, to take this the next step. So we're looking at if we do decide to go forward with acquiring that property and cleaning it up, the budget would probably be in the range of $60,000 to $80,000. But again, we need to know a little bit more about what's inside the building. And also, we would try to look and see if any town organizations or community groups would want to donate time or materials to bring that cost down also. But in the end, we probably would need to bond for some amount of money in order to make that project happen for the community. So that's something that the town board will need to decide if we want to go forward with, and we need to decide fairly soon because the county once a year does all their tax foreclosures, and they need to make a list of those in the spring so that they can proceed with the foreclosures in the summer. So within the next month or so, we kind of need to make a decision if we want to go forward. Does that sound about right, Warren?
It sounds right, yeah. I did speak with the Attorney General's office today, and they confirmed the figures that were quoted to us and the release of liability that they would give us, and they'll have something to us in writing tomorrow.
So that would mean a clean bill of health from the spill
It
fund?
means that we would pay them, well, $10,000.
Right.
And a reduction from several $100,000. And they would be responsible for all the cleanup.
For $10,000.
The town would be released from all present and future liability.
So after the building is removed, then they would come in and clean up any remaining
That's
oil
my
contamination
understanding. I'm waiting
underground.
to
Yeah.
get it in writing, but that's what I was advised
Oh,
today.
that's great. That's good news.
The only uncertainty is I put several calls into county, their attorney's office, to have them confirm for us that they put this property on the list for in-rem proceedings. They have not verified that yet, so
Okay.
I'm hoping that they've done that, and I'll make another call tomorrow. I think it's been 3 or 4 calls that have gone unanswered. but I'm hoping that they have that on the in-rem list.
Thank you.
And everything else is going smoothly on this.
And I just really want to recognize Councilwoman Svensson's efforts on this. No, yeah, this is a pretty awesome job that we,
This is a good project.
to pull together a solution to a problem that seemed unsolvable it's really quite an achievement. And, you know, we went to Albany, and of course applaud Warren as well, because, you know, we met with the right people, we came up with the right numbers, we've worked closely with the county, and, you know, I'll definitely give a lot of kudos to our county executive, who is also helpful in working this out. And, you know, it's unfortunate that we have to spend any money at all, but when a property has this lien, there's no solution. That's why it sat there like this for probably 2 decades. So it's something that I hope that the town, people in the town support. It's a moment in time when we actually have a solution. I don't know that we're going to be able to ever put this together again, because we just have willing partners that are working with us. So I'm hoping that people feel as strongly as we do that it's a worthwhile project to solve, even if we have to lay some money out. So we'll have on our next agenda, I believe, a contract that we'll be awarding for the initial exploration.
Yes.
And then proceeding further from there. Okay, so anyone have any questions? Hannah? Okay.
I just wanted to make it clear, in case it wasn't, that we really appreciate the county waiving their
Absolutely.
taxes also. That was not
Definitely.
something that originally was going to
No.
happen, and that just came in recently, and we
I don't know if
put it
they
together.
didn't, that might have been the deal breaker.
I think it would have been.
Yeah, because it
Yeah.
just seemed like, another 13,000 would have made it just not doable. So, so we're definitely very grateful to the county for their cooperation. Okay, so we have a list of 11 resolutions before us, and at this point in time, I'd like to invite anyone from the public to comment on any of the resolutions before us. Okay, all right, then we'll just move on to those. Emily, you want?
Resolution 223-1 of 2015, resolution authorizing the town supervisor to proceed with lease agreement for 2015 Ford Police Interceptor utility vehicle.
Second.
And all in favor?
Aye.
Resolution 223-2 of 2015, resolution authorizing purchase of used motor vehicle from the Village of Brewster to be used as part of the town of Hyde Park's Police Department's fleet of police vehicles.
Second?
And all in favor?
Aye.
I was informed this afternoon that the vehicle was inspected and was
This
deemed to be
meets-
satisfactory.
Okay, great.
Yeah.
So our secondhand police cars. They've worked out fine, though, really.
Is one of them.
Resolution 223-3 of 2015, resolution authorizing hawking and peddling license for operation of Carol's Hot Dogs.
And do we have a second?
Second.
And all in favor?
Aye.
Resolution 223-4 of 2015, resolution acknowledging the volunteer work of Yvonne Laub.
Second.
And all in favor?
Aye.
And we just want to thank Yvonne for the very lovely work she did on our new logo, and we appreciate it, and she was a pleasure to work with.
Resolution 223-5 of 2015, resolution acknowledging the resignation of Arthur Gross from the Town of Hyde Park's Board of Ethics effective February 13, 2015.
Second?
And all in favor?
Aye.
And definitely want to thank Art for all his good work and wish him well in his new location.
Resolution 223-6 of 2015, resolution reappointing Carol Clearwater as member of the Town of Hyde Park Board of Ethics.
Second.
And all in favor?
Aye.
Thanks, Carol, for stepping up again.
Resolution 223-7 of 2015, resolution appointing Robert Linville as a member of the Town of Hyde Park's Board of Ethics for a term commencing February 23rd, 2015, and terminating February 28th, 2016.
Second.
And all in favor?
Aye.
And it's nice to be welcoming back Bob Linville to town government.
Yeah, he'll be filling out the rest of Art Gross's term.
Resolution 223-8 of 2015, resolution authorizing budget amendment for Greenfield Sewer Evaluation Project and authorizing the town supervisor to execute a modification to professional services agreement between the town of Hyde Park and T&B Engineering, PC.
Second?
And all in favor?
Aye.
And thanks to Jonathan Cherns for figuring out how to squeeze the last bit out of that grant and use it for something important.
Thanks, Jonathan, for that and all the other things that you've done for us.
Yeah.
Resolution 223-9 of 2015, resolution approving budget revisions to the town of Hyde Park for the period of January 2015, budget revisions number 2015-01.
Second?
And all in favor?
Aye.
Resolution 22310 of 2015, resolution of intent to transfer of ownership and management of the town's water and sewer districts to the Dutchess County Wastewater Authority.
Second?
And all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Again, a project we've been working on for quite some time.
Resolution 223-11 of 2015, resolution adopting the Recreation Department camp and swim lessons fee schedule for the town of Hyde Park for the year 2015.
Second?
And all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, so I don't know if anyone has any new or old business they'd like to discuss. I just wanted to give a little bit of an update on the temporary employee that we hired and how helpful he's been. He was able actually to solve a problem that we had with the furnace at the highway garage, and we had an estimate of $3,000 to do this repair work on the stacks for this furnace, and our new employee was able to just go to Home Depot, purchase the materials, and fix it in 5 hours. So I feel pretty darn good about that, and he's actually doing some work right now in the conference room, and we'll be doing some painting of the ceiling and various things. So he's working out very well. Another piece of correspondence, which I received a reminder from Barbara Sweet, and that she provided a media committee report. And unfortunately, as some people know, I tore my hamstring, so I haven't been in to print these things out, so we'll do that at our next meeting. So unless anyone else has any further things, can I have a motion to close the meeting?
Did we want to go into executive session?
Oh,
You wanna-
okay.
Do you mind? Are
No,
you
we
okay?
can, I'm okay.
It'll
Okay.
be 2 minutes.
Okay, good. All right, so can we have a motion to?
I'll make
Yeah.
the motion.
Yep, did you have something else you
No.
wanted to say? Okay. Yes, so a motion to
Yeah,
enter
just wondered.
executive session. Can I have a second?
Second?
And all in favor?
Aye.
Should we say what
Discuss,
it's?
litigation related
Oh,
matters.
I'm
Yeah.
sorry, yes,
Yes.
to discuss litigation-related matters. Okay, we'll be right back.